So we talked about last videos about the different inflorescence, the racemose kind of inflorescence, the cymose kind of inflorescence, and we have also checked the solitary kind of inflorescence. Let's take about the special types of inflorescence. And this, in case of a special type of inflorescence, the first is the CYATHIUM inflorescence, that is seen in case of is the characteristic features of the Euphorbiaceae family. Okay. Now, Cythium is basically the specialized called pseudoxanthia or the false flower forming the inflorescence of the plant and is seen in case of Euphorbiaceae. The Cythium consists of 5 or rarely 4. These are small unit of the bracteoles. Okay. There is the small united bracts that forms the cup-like structure, that is the involucre. Okay, so we have seen that the group of cluster of the bracts converts into a cup-like structure, that is what we call as the involucre. Okay. The upper tips are the free and the beginning of the covers opening into the involucres, and there is a shutter-like camera. Now these are alternate with the five, one five, maybe one or to 10 nectaries gland. Now these nectary glands are also the characteristic features when it is present on the involucre, and it's also sometimes fused. One extremely reduced female flowers is there, standing in the center of the base of the involucre, consisting of the ovary and a short stem with the pistil, and is surrounded by 5 or maybe 4 in some cases to an extremely reduced male flower, which each consists of a single anther on the stem. So if you see the structure of the cythium, okay, we have got the single cythium here. The flower characteristics of the cythium are underlined by a brightly colored nectary glands that is present here. Okay. So we have got nectary glands, and often the petals have the appendages of the nectary glands or brightly colored. Petals like bracts that are positioned under the cythia. Okay. So if you see here that we have got cataphyls, we have got glands, nectary glands here. Okay. And on the basis of nectary glands, we have got one single female flower here. So if you see the cross section of that, we have got the single female flower, okay, that forms the pedicels, the ovary. As since we have got this is a single flower. Okay, so single flower will be originating, we having one pedicel. Okay. Now this on the top of the pedicel we have got the ovary. That ovary is further terminating into a style, and then we have got female male flowers in the forms of single anther. Okay, that has got the pedicel. Terminating on the pedicel is the stamen formation. Okay, so we have got one female flower and four or five kinds of female male flowers here. The other kind of this is a characteristic of the Euphorbiaceae family. Okay. Now, next type of inflorescence, special kind of inflorescence, is the verticillaster. This type of inflorescence is a condensed form of the dicaseal kind. Okay. To understand understand the verticillaster kind of inflorescence, it is easy if you can remember the chyme inflorescence. So what is happening in case of verticillaster is that uh, in case of the chyme inflorescence, the inflorescence is initially a dicaseal chyme, that is there were or the biparous chyme, and then it's get converted into your single or your, monocaseal kind of inflorescence. In majority cases, it's helicoid monocaseal kind. Okay. So what is elaster? If you want to remember it, it's dicaseal kind, further converting it or becoming a monocaseal kind. And monocaseal kind, its majority in case of a helicoid. Okay, we saw in case of cymose inflorescence that there are two forms of monocaseal kind. One is the helicoid and this helicoid is basically what we see in case of verticillaster. Okay. So if you see here that it is seen in many characteristic feature of the Lamiaceae family. Okay. So it is seen in case of oxymum. Okay, that is your tulsi. Okay, mentha. So what is happening here? If this is the a single peduncle, so it's on the basis of that we have got dicaseal chyme. Okay, and further this dicaseal chyme, this is further converted into a monocaseal chyme of inflorescence. So this is dicaseal on both sides. Okay, so we have got bunch of flowers on this, and then we have got the single flower that is coming up. Okay, so that can be seen in case of Osimum santicum. Okay, that is the Tulsi flower. Okay. Another kind of special kind of inflorescence is the Hypanthodium. In case of Hypanthodium, what happens is that we have got a hollow cavity formation. Now, in case of the hollow cavity formation, we have this is structure. This is a hollow cavity. Okay, and in the case of hollow cavity, we have got the male flowers towards the opening. Now, this we have got the opening here. Okay, now this opening is from where the flies gets enter, and it is a characteristic features of the Moraceae family. Okay, so all your Ficus bengalensis, Ficus caressa, religiosa. Okay, so all your neem, Bargad people, these are all forming the form the Ficus plant. So it belongs to the Ficus genus Ficus of the Moraceae family. Now, what is happening here? We have got the male flowers towards this upper end, okay, and the female flowers towards the lower part. So, what happens here is that this is the opening or the ostiole. In the ostiole, the insects enters, the collects the pollen from the male flower that is towards the opening or the ostiole. Okay, and then this goes to flies goes towards the inside, and then it's pollinates the female flower. Okay, in majority of the time what happens that the wasp gets many a times it gets die here. Okay, because it's not able to come out of the entire your inflorescence. Now this inflorescence is basically what we call as the hypanthodium. So on the legs of the wasp, all the pollen grains get deposited when it enters into the hypanthodium. Okay, so we have got the this is structure. This entire structure is the syncytium. Okay, we have got the ostiole here, and the hairy-like structure here that is attract, and then we have got the some neutral flowers here. Okay, and then we have got the male flowers towards the near the ostiole. Now let's understand the difference between the three kinds of inflorescence. That's a special kind of inflorescence. First is the CYATHIUM, VERTICILLASTER, and the HYPANTHODIUM. What happens in case of CYATHIUM inflorescence that there is a cupular-like structure developed on the involucre or the bracts. Okay. There is a single female flower in the center, surrounded by numerous stalked male flower. Each of the male flower is represented by a single stamen. In case of verticillaster, it's a special kind of cymose inflorescence. It consists of two clusters of flower that develops towards the two opposite axes of the leaf. Each cluster represents a dicaseal chyme. The flower are sessile and appears as the cluster on the node. Okay. Now this dicaseal chyme further gets converted, as we have already seen that the dicaseal chyme further get converted into a monocaseal helicoid kind of chyme inflorescence. In case of hypothodium, the main axis develops into cupular receptor-like structure, and with the apical opening of the apex, that is what we call as the ostiole. Both male and the female flowers are represented in the inner line of the cavity enclosed in the cupular structure, and the example can be of the ficus genus of the Moraceae family.